Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Matthew Phifer. I'm a therapist, coach, author, content creator, podcaster, and I help people who are in toxic, unhealthy, narcissistically abusive relationships. I help them recognize some of the behaviors, some of the signs, some of the symptoms, and I help people move on and help people develop self-love, boundaries, to be able to move forward and to be able to live a very healthy, productive life. And on my channel, I read people's emails. People send emails to me and they ask me questions about their circumstances and their situation to be able to help move on and to be able to grow from that. And so if you want me to read an email that you have and that you have a question for me, send it to justaskmatt@mattpfeiffercoaching.com. Again, that is justaskmatt@mattpfeiffercoaching.com. Just make sure you keep the email 2 to 3 paragraphs max and you're very direct and to the point of what your question actually is. If it's too long, unfortunately, I will not be able to read it. And also, just give me some time to get to your email. I get a lot of emails, and I also have a lot of other things that I do outside of YouTube as well. So with that being said, and the fastest way to work with me, if you want to work with me, the fastest way to work with me is to connect with me in my community. If you go to the links down below, Toxic to Triumph Community is the fastest way to work with me. You can get a hold of my webinars. You can get discounts on my courses. I have other ways that you can connect with me. All of those things are down below. With that being said, let's get to this email. So this email reads, "Hey Matt, I'm starting the dissolution of marriage process soon, and my ex and I have been doing better with co-parenting somewhat," right? So I want to pause there. I want to make sure that quite often, right, a narcissist, right, or someone who struggles with some toxicity, it's very common for them to behave themselves for periods of time, right? So we need to remember, right, we're going through a divorce process for a reason. So the person that you knew up until this point is still there. So I don't want us to fall into this trap that we're co-parenting really well, and because quite often a narcissist will show that other side, right? And why did they do that? So then you let your guard down. But if they were controlling all throughout the relationship, the likelihood of them being controlling and abusive after the relationship is very, very high. So let's continue with this email. "I'm trying to learn more about yellow rocking, and if you're not familiar with yellow rocking, it's a term created by a friend of mine, Tina Swithin, and I encourage for you to follow her if you are not on all major platforms. And she also has several books out, and she helps people who are going through the court system with the narcissist or sociopath. So yellow rocking is a phrase that she came up with, that instead of gray rocking, right, where you are very cold towards the narcissist, because we understand that narcissists are trying to press your buttons and are trying to get an emotional reaction, and so you're not giving over that reaction. And so if I had to give just kind of an overview of what yellow rocking is, it's still being polite but not giving the narcissist an emotional reaction. And so that's what she's referring to. So let's continue with this email. "I'm trying to learn more about yellow rocking, but I'm worried if he can or will try to use that against me, right? Should I be concerned? And do you have tips for better yellow rocking or things to watch out for?" So a narcissist in court will use any and everything against you, right? So let's remind ourselves what yellow rocking actually is. And let's talk about co-parenting overall. When you're co-parenting with a narcissist, you're not catering to the narcissist. They're never going to be happy with you. Yes, he's going to use yellow rock against you. It doesn't mean that that's going to work for him, right? Or her in some other people's situations. Just because a narcissist says something and brings something up in court doesn't mean that it's going to work, right? Of course, a narcissist is going to get upset that they're not getting the emotional reaction out of you. So they might bring up the fact that, I sent them a message and it took them an hour to get back to me because the narcissist wants what they want right here, right now. Just because they bring it up doesn't mean that the judge is going to agree with them, right? So the reason why I want to bring this up is because when we're talking about yellow rock, keep in mind, there's I know with Tina there's certain yellow rock phrases, right? Your email has been noted, right? We're being, you know, when you're doing Yellow Rock, you're still being very polite, but at the same time, you're being very professional, right? So think of it as though you're talking to Yellow Rock. The way that I would describe it is that you're talking to a coworker, right? Not just any coworker, but a coworker that you know that person doesn't like you, and you know that person is going to try to get you in trouble, right? That anything you say could end up in HR, right? So Yellow Rocking technique is a way, right, to talk to the narcissist, co-parent with them in a way that not if, but when the judge starts to see the communication patterns between the two of you, right? They see one person that's being extremely polite, things like that, and they start to see the narrative of the narcissist, because what does narcissists do? Because they want that emotional reaction. You fucking bipolar cunt. You know how we all know how narcissists talk, right? Quite often, or they do other things to try to press your buttons and try to be overly controlling, overly demanding. Yellow Rock does not allow for the narcissist to play their games, but it also is a polite, professional way to communicate to where it's acceptable for court as well. So let's go back to your question, right? I'm worried if he can or will try, right, to use that against me. We cannot control the narcissist. So one of the things that we have to let go is him trying, right? Can he try? Yes. Narcissists try all sorts of things in court, right? They bring up all sorts of random things. Just because they bring it up does not mean that it's going to work. Let's say that you take your kids 5 minutes late to school. Let's say you took them an hour late to school. The narcissist is more than likely going to bring that up. The court, if that's not a consistent theme, is not going to care, right? We have to. So one of the things that I would encourage you to do, and anyone else who's going through any type of co-parenting issue or going through any type of divorce proceeding with a narcissist, is to understand your rights as a parent, as a father, as a mother, right? And the reason why I say that is that a narcissist, let's say that this person does bring up your Yellow Rocking techniques and says that you're only giving short statements, and who cares, right? You have the court is not going to enforce that. There's nothing that, what are they going to do? Tell you to write three pages worth of text messages, right? They're not going to do that, because you have a right to maintain your peace. And obviously, if you're being professional, if you're not calling that person names, if you're not being abusive towards them, right? They're gonna look at that as you are being mature. So we have to separate the two. Quite often, and what I'm hearing here is that you want to please the narcissist to a point where they don't even try. We have no control over them, and I would tell you that the likelihood of them trying is very high. The likelihood of them being successful, of it actually being an actual issue in court, is very minimal if you're doing things right. So thank you very much for writing in. Once again, anyone else who has questions that you would like for me to answer on YouTube, make sure you send it to justaskmatt@mattphifercoaching.com. Make sure it's 2 to 3 paragraphs max, and you're very direct and to the point of what your question actually is. Also, make sure you give me a little bit of time to get to it, because I do get a lot of emails, and I do a lot of work outside of YouTube as well. But the fastest way to work with me is to connect with me in my Toxic to Triumph community. That is a place where we have regular conversations, we have regular webinars throughout the week. You also will have a community of people that you can connect with and that you can talk with. And because connecting with people, not only, I always tell people you need 3 people. People who have been there, done that are pulling you up. People who are right alongside you, that you're encouraging them, they're encouraging you. And also people below you that you're pulling them up, because that gives you purpose to your pain and purpose to your healing. So thank you guys very much, and I will see you in the next video.